A knowledge management strategy is one of the key foundational documents in any knowledge management implementation program. It's the strategy that gives you the context. It gives you, if you like, the boundaries within which knowledge management will operate in your organization. It answers the key questions such as why, what, who, why are we doing knowledge management? What is the key knowledge that we will focus on? Who are the key stakeholders? So the strategy document is something you draft up front, you agree it with your sponsor, and it sets the boundaries within which implementation will proceed. Now we see 7 core sections within a knowledge management strategy, and I'll go through those sections now one by one. The first really is the principles that you will use in your knowledge management implementation. Principles such as running it as a change program, focusing on the business first, the solution second, and so on. The second component is the vision and the scope. You need an agreed vision for what knowledge management will contain for your organization, and you also need to draw the scope tightly enough that you're not trying to do everything, but broad enough that you encompass an entire knowledge management framework. The third section is the business drivers. We know that you don't do knowledge management for its own sake, you do it because it serves a business need. But what is that strategic business need? Is it growth? Is it cost control? Is it improved efficiency? Is it improved intimacy with the customer? If you can find the business driver, then you're much more likely to impact that driver with your knowledge management program. The fourth section in your strategy should be looking at the critical knowledge. You don't need to manage every little piece of knowledge. You need to manage the important knowledge that's going to impact the business driver. So you need to find the 5, 6, 10 core areas of knowledge where KM will focus. The next section is to think about the framework that you will put in place. Based on the scope, based on the business drivers, what will knowledge management look like? What roles will you need? What processes will you need? What technology will you need? What governance will you need? Those 4 things, roles, process, technologies, governance, define the knowledge management framework that you will put in place. Item number 6 is to look at the key stakeholders. Now we know that knowledge management is, as much as anything, a change program. It requires a change in culture, a change in mindset, and you address minds one at a time. You address culture individual by individual. So you need to map out the key stakeholders, and you need a stakeholder management approach within your strategy. And then finally, section number 7 will be to look at the pilots, to look at where are you going to start. Based on the vision, the scope, the business drivers, the framework and the stakeholders, you need to select 2, 3 key business areas where knowledge management can have impact, and these will provide your pilot program. If you've defined these 7 areas, presented them to your sponsor, your steering team, and got their agreement, then this strategy is going to provide a very solid basis for a really successful knowledge management implementation.